Hello. So many moons ago, I did a knitting challenge where I knit a 3-hour sweater. Or I attempted to knit a 3-hour sweater. I'm gonna make sure I link to that video, but it turns out that you all absolutely loved that challenge because that is, to this date, my all-time favorite video. It has had the most views I've ever had on anything. So I thought it's time to do another knitting challenge, and this time it's going to be the 5-hour sweater. This one, I'm sure you've been seeing it bouncing around. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. See if I can knit this whole entire sweater in 5 hours. If you want to find out if I can, keep watching. Hello and welcome to Killer Kitsch Lizzie, my weird little world where I like to knit and sew, do other crafty things, and attempt to knit a sweater in 5 hours. As you would have heard in my intro, it was quite a while ago now, I did another challenge where I did try to knit a sweater in 3 hours, and go back and watch that video if you want to know what happened. So I will also link it and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so this has been bouncing around on Instagram. I've seen a few people knitting this sweater, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, knit this attractive garment in 5 hours, and I'm up for the challenge. Let's see if I can actually knit this garment in 5 hours. Now, this is using a heavier worsted or Aran. I also have already swatched, and for sure 100% this yarn works with the gauge from this pattern. And the tension is 13 stitches to 4 inches. So you're also using, if you're in the UK, 3-in-1 knitting needles. I use millimeter, so I'm using a 6.5 and a 7.5. Off the top of my head, I don't know what that is in the US needles, but over on my blog post over at killerkitschdesigns.com, I do a full blog post over there, so I will make sure to list all of the different knitting needles for UK, Canada, US, and Japan as well. I'll link the seller of this pattern. I don't remember off the top of my head who it is. There's no there's no watermark on this, so I will link the seller that I got this over on Etsy from. The sizes on here is bust 34 to 36 and 38 to 40 inches. So it's two groupings of sizes. And it says here for bust 34 to 36, you're going to use 20 ounces of yarn. And 38 to 40 inch bust, 22 ounces of yarn. And it says you're going to need 1 pair each of number 3 and number 1, which I just mentioned. And 1 large size crochet hook. Now, this pattern has a cable down the front. There's no cabling in the back, just down the front. And it's just 1 long cable. You can use a crochet hook if you want. And all that it's doing is holding your stitches while you're doing the twist of the cable. But if you actually have a cable needle, which I do, I should have gotten that out, apologies. If you have an actual cable needle, then I would recommend that you go ahead and use that. I have several different sizes. I'm going to use the biggest one, which is this one. And what a cable needle does, actually I'll show you both because both are slightly different, is it has a little dip in the middle. That's the one I'm going to use because that one is actually bigger. I'm not sure how many millimeters that is. Unfortunately, the cable needles don't tell you this. But sometimes cable needles have a little V like that. Either will work, and you don't have to use the same size as your knitting needle, because all that the cable needle is doing is it's actually just holding your stitches in place while you're doing the twist. You could use that, you could use DPNs, you could use a smaller cable needle, like cable style knitting needle to hold your stitches. You could use whatever is going to work for you. It just has to have both ends open, because if you put it on a stitch holder like that, depending on which way you put it on the stitch holder, you might not be able to get your stitches back off again. So use something that's open-ended. I mean, use a chopstick if that works. Whatever you've got, just use it. You can also put it on a loose piece of yarn. It's just holding your stitches temporarily, like for a few seconds while you're doing the thing. This is not a knitting tutorial by any means. It is a very easy pattern. This is just a challenge to see if I can actually knit this in 5 hours. Just a couple more things about the pattern. The back does not have any cabling at all. It's the ribbing and then the stockinette stitch. The sleeves have the cable and the front has the cable. I don't think you're going to be able to see it very well. The sleeves have the cable down the middle, and then just the middle of the shirt. And then it is a very loose, almost a cowl neck type collar on it, which is good for me because I don't like anything tight on my neck. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else about this that you need to know. Nope. That is it. This is a very, very standard knit too. I think it'll also be very easy to knit. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to start knitting. I have my yarn and I have my needles, so I'm going to start off with the ribbing. Oh, and the ribbing I think was 2x2 if I remember correctly. Yes, it's a 2x2 knit 2 purl 2 style knitting. So, or ribbing, sorry. So I'm going to, oh, also this is how old this pattern is. I don't know if you can see that. It says 6D is the price. Oh, and it's called, I don't know if it's called Panine or Pennine Jiffy Knit is the other name of this pattern. So they also, of course, suggest that you use their yarn, but this is from the 1950s, and that yarn is not going to be around anymore. I mean, you could try looking at Ravelry to see if they have sources for the yarn or also substitutes. I just took a yarn that was a bulky worsted and did the gauge, and it worked. So, alright, without any more yapping, I'm going to get knitting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to check in hourly up until the 5-hour point, and each hour I'm going to show you how far I've gotten. Okay, let me cast on and get the ribbing done, and then however far I get in an hour. Okay, so this is 1 hour of knitting. Now, I have completed the 2 inches of ribbing, which was at 6.5mm needles, and then I've moved on to the bigger 7.5mm needles, and that is 1 hour of knitting. Now, once you switch to 7.5, it goes way faster. Also, ribbing does slow you down because you're switching back and forth between stitches. And at the 1 hour mark, I'm at 4 inches of knitting. So that includes 2 inches of rib and 2 inches of stockinette stitch. Now, as I said, I'm on the 7.5mm needles now, and I did notice this went way faster once I got the ribbing done. So we will see where I am at the 2 hour mark. Also, I am knitting a color I rarely wear because I spill things, so I'm hoping it's like a cream color. It's called Off-White, but I don't know, I thought I'd do a change. It also, the style of the sweater I noticed is very similar to, there is a photo of Marilyn wearing a very similar sweater. It's not exactly the same. At the top there is yoke, I think, on the one she has, but it is very close to the Marilyn sweater. Anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna continue knitting and I'll check in again in hour 2. I'm now at the 2 hour mark, and it's going faster, as I mentioned earlier. Is it going to get me? I don't know how far it's going to get me, but anyways. Yeah. So I'm going to show you where I am at the 2 hour mark. Also, I knit really fast, so, you know, I've mentioned this many, many times in a lot of my videos. I've been knitting since I was 10, and I'm at this point where I knit very fast. For stockinette stitch, I don't need to look at my knitting at all. I can just knit and, like, whatever, listen to something, watch something. Yeah, so this has gotten me to 8 inches from the bottom. And for the size I'm doing, which is a 38/40, you start the armholes at 8 inches above the ribbing, so 10 inches actually. I only have 2 more inches to go to get to the armhole. So I mean, for 2 hours of knitting, that's pretty, I've gotten pretty far, so that's actually pretty good. I mean, yeah, we'll see where I am at the 5 hour mark, of course, but this is 2 hours of knitting. And this is a 7.5mm needle. I also measured, after I did all my increases, it comes out to, what did it come out to? I think it was, so this is supposed to be for a 40-inch bust, 38 to 40-inch bust. And after I measured it, and I forgot what I just saw, so it comes out to 20 inches exactly for the front after the decreases, and then the waist at this point is 15 inches, so that's just the back. I'm working on the back. I did notice for the front, you do cast on, when you get to the front part, you do cast on the same amount of stitches, but you don't do the same amount of increases, so I guess what I'm trying to say is this should fit not stretched. The waist, not stretched, would fit a 30-inch waist because it's going to be the same cast on stitches. I'm just going to fully stretch this out. Well, without making it gross, you know, like unsightly. Yeah, stretched out, comfortably stretched out, it gets to 40 inches, so if you have a 40-inch waist, it'll fit you. And then also, because this is a bigger stitch, there is a lot of stretch in this garment. So anyone who is bigger than a 40-inch, like say up to a 42-inch, you could probably comfortably end up wearing this. Again, I'm not going to know until I get the front piece done because there is a difference of, we do the increases up to 64 stitches for the 40 on the back, and you only go up to an increase of 52 stitches for the front. Oh, so you're only doing one increase in the front, one set of increases. However, also the cable is going to give it some more ease as well, because that'll be a bit stretchy too. So anyway, I am going to continue on, and I will let you know where I am at the 3-hour mark. It's now hour 3, and I've gotten this far. So this is 11 inches of knitting, and this is including, I've started doing the armhole decreases, so yeah. That's 3 hours of knitting, folks. Yeah, so it does knit up very fast. You could probably finish this thing, depending on how fast you knit, like in a weekend, probably. But yeah, I'm going to keep going, and I will show you where I am in another hour, which will be hour 4. But yeah, that's 11 inches. Or a little bit more than 11 inches, I think, because it was 10 inches when I started. No, that's about 11 inches. Yeah, that's 11 inches. So yeah, on to hour 4. Well, I just finished hour 4 of knitting, and I've knit 15 inches of the back. I mean, it's still knitting up incredibly fast. Considering I'll probably have the back done very soon. I'm, knitting up the armhole right now. It says to knit 6.5 inches. I'm going to do what the pattern says. However, I feel like that armhole might be a little too short for me. But I'm going to knit this pattern as is, and if it turns out it's too short in the armhole, I'll come back to it later, and I can rip down and fix it then. But what I'm going to do is I will knit all of the pieces, and then sew up the body kind of thing and see how the armholes are. But I want to make sure that I've knit all the pieces and let you know how long it takes to actually knit all the pieces, and then of course how long it's going to take to sew it up and that kind of thing. But yeah, end of hour 4, and I have 15 inches knit. So yeah, the bigger needles do make it go faster, and yeah, so I'm going to keep going, and I'll be back when I hit hour 5. We're doing a sweater update, and the light is slightly different because it's nighttime now. I had to take a break for a bit to make dinner and all that fun stuff. So, 5 hours are up. How far do you think I got? Do you think I finished the entire sweater in 5 hours? Or in that last hour? Let me show you. in 5 hours. I haven't cast off yet. That's all I have to do. It was just easier to leave it on the needles to hold it up. But in 5 hours, I finished the back. That's what 5 hours gives you, unless you are knitting at the speed of light. You're not going to finish the entire sweater in 5 hours. Just like the 3-hour sweater. I can't remember off the top of my head how long it took me, but yeah, I did not even close. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to cast this off, and then I'm going to start on the front. The front is slightly different. The front does have cabling down the center, as I showed you, and it's basically the exact same shape. And you cast on the same amount. For whatever reason, I've read the instructions, and you don't increase the stitches to the same, which is weird, but that's okay. Anyway, so the instructions does have you do the sleeves next, but I'm going to go ahead and do the front next, and then I'm going to do the sleeves last. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and the next update when I come back is I'm going to not do an hourly at this point. I'll come back and tell you how long it took me to do the front. I'm kind of thinking it's probably going to be the same amount of time. Cable, it's one cable down the front. It's not going to add any time to it, really. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be the same, 5 hours. But what I'll do is I'll knit the entire thing. I'll keep track, and then I'm going to let you know when I come back how long the front took. So I'll see you when that's done. Time for an update. I should have done a update prior to this, but I decided, so in the pattern it says back, sleeves, front. But I thought, I'm not a fan of knitting sleeves. So I decided I'm gonna, I'll do the front first. And I think the reason there is a reason they wanted you to knit the sleeves prior to the front. However, to be honest, it doesn't matter what order you do the pieces in, to be completely honest. So anyways, the front is done up to the neck, and there was a reason for that. This took me 4 hours. And just to recap, the back took me 5 hours. So the front was 4 hours. Probably, had I done the entire neck, it would have been 5 hours as well. The way they're, the structure of the way they're knitting this is very interesting. So you knit the front until you get to the neck, and then you put it on hold. And then you knit the sleeves, and you put some of the stitches on hold, and then you put them all together, and you then do the front and partially side ribbing of the neck cowl turtleneck part. So I knit 2 sleeves at one time. I always knit both at the same time. 2 reasons. I want them to be exactly the same length. Also, I feel like if I knit both at the same time, I'm not going to knit one and be like, I don't want to knit the other sleeve right now, and then I put it aside, it doesn't get done. This way they're both done. It feels like it takes longer to knit the sleeves, for me anyways, than the rest of the garment. And I think knitting 2 at a time makes that even a longer process for me, but anyway, so yeah, I have finished the sleeves, and what they do is they have you do your armhole decreases up to here, and then you knit 3 or 3.5 inches, depending on what sizes you're doing, of just the cable. And it's very clever. So what this is going to do when you put your garment together is this little bit here is your shoulder. And what it also does, and I didn't realize this at first, it makes the turtleneck cowl part even wider, making it even more comfortable to be around your neck. So, I actually really love that idea. It's very clever. What happens next is I now will be adding the so you're basically going to be putting these all on the needle together with the front and the middle of the needle, one of your sleeves on one side and the other sleeve on the other side, and then you're going to knit the 5 inches of neck. And then when that is done, you're then going to sew everything up. And I actually like this idea better than having to pick up stitches around the neck and then knit the neck part. I mean, technically you sort of still are, but you're not having to pick up the stitches, they're already on hold. I really love this idea because sometimes when you pick up stitches to knit, sometimes like it's hard to get them even, perfectly even, and you do occasionally have like one area where you picked up a bunch of stitches closer together and then maybe here it's like they're slightly further apart, so it's not perfectly even. This is going to guarantee that this is going to be perfectly even. So I love that idea. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to then now put all of these on the needle, and I'm going to knit the 5 inches of neck, and I'll come back and tell you how long that took me. Shouldn't take me that long, because I remember when I did it on the back part, it didn't really take that long. Mind you, it is a smaller section. But yeah, I'll do a little timing to see where, how long it took me. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. Done. That took an hour. And then what you do next is you take this bit which is going to go on the shoulder, and you sew it, match it up and sew it to the shoulder part, and then sew up the, I don't have it. Anyway, just sew up the side seams, and then sew the sleeves together, and then, insert them. So literally all that's left to do is just to seam up this. In total, this 5-hour sweater took 16 hours for me. Again, I am a very fast knitter. If you are someone who is newer to knitting or is a slower knitter, it's going to take you longer than that. You're not going to do it that fast. Possibly up to 20 hours in total, but yeah. It was not a 5-hour sweater. So, but I did get one piece done in 5 hours. So the back, 100% done in 5 hours. Anyway, so that is the 5-hour sweater. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to seam everything up. And the next clip you're going to see will be, it's a little bit too warm today for me to wear this. It's quite warm out. We're at the end of September, and it's still pretty warm. So anyways, I'm not going to wear it. I'm going to put it on Bunty, and then I'll show a video clip of her wearing it so you can see what it looks like done up. This was a size 38 to 40 bust, so it has a lot of stretch in it, so that should probably fit me fine. It might be a little slightly snug on me, but wearable, I think, with no problem at all. It is going to be just below my waist when I do wear it. Once it is cool enough for me to wear it, I will post photos over on my Instagram to show you. And on the blog post, I'll add photos to the blog post showing you what it looks like on me when I, finally get a chance to wear it. But I'm not going to wear it today. So anyway, so I'm going to sew this up and we'll be back with clips. So that is what it looks like on Bunty. Once I feel that it's cool enough, I will wear it myself and I'll get some photos done. I'll make sure that they are on my website, which is killerkitschdesigns.com, and it'll be on my Instagram. And yeah, if you like this kind of video, please give me a thumbs up. Please also subscribe if you're not subscribed. And until next time, maybe I'll do another knitting challenge.